Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the next 4 months of Umamusume pulling, and we'll essentially talk about what are the important ones, and maybe I'll just glance over some of the more niche ones and explain why they're not very important. Right? If they're important to you, just take note that of course you should go and pull what you feel like is important to you, but ultimately being a bit more careful with your gem counts is going to be very valuable the longer we go into Umamusume, as there will be plenty of temptation along the way. Alright, so whatever you can afford to save, you should try your best to save if you can. Alright, we'll start off with the first banner, which is going to be the Yaeno Muteki banner. This is going to be not a very relevant horse for meta purposes. She is a pace chaser for the mediums, and just like her card, she has a lot of mid-leg speed skills, and after that she has a unique that activates on the final corner with race planner. Ultimately, you can use her if you want to, but she's not really that relevant for meta purposes, so I think a lot of people will not be pulling her. There will be a few people that will want to go and pull her for the love of the game, but otherwise I don't think she's going to be very relevant to a lot of people. We also have Twin Turbo Speed and Ines Fujin Guts. At this point in time, Twin Turbo Speed for taking the lead is not even required anymore, because we now have Mejiro Palmer Wit as a Halloween card, and that is a free card some more. So having a Wit card that gives you the gold skill that you're looking for is way more valuable than using a subpar speed card to go and get the skill that you're looking for. Next we have Ines Fujin Guts, which is a very solid card for Guts because it also has very good stat output, very good training effectiveness, also good play times and slipstream and restless also. So it's a very good card for the Guts builds. And for the medium CMs, if you don't want to focus on getting a lot of stamina, you can just get by with pumping the Guts like crazy, and that will actually help to substitute the stamina, and you maybe buy 1 or 2 gold recoveries or even just a few white recoveries and you'll be mostly fine already. Right, so that's why Ines Fujin Guts is a very valuable card. You can consider pulling it if you're very rich, but otherwise it's mostly a thing for the luxury players rather than for the poorer players. Alright, do try and save whenever you possibly can. Moving on, we have the Nice Nature and King Hilo Cheerleader versions. For Cheerleader nature, she has No Stopping Me, which is a very valuable gambling skill, and thus she is able to basically win almost every CM just by gambling No Stopping Me. Just throw into late searcher, throw end closer, wherever is the strongest position, and then just gamble the No Stopping Me and you will be able to win. For Cheer Halo, you have a much better version of the OG version because you lose a vision debuff and you just get an actual speed skill, which is really big deal. Right, a vision debuff is worthless, but a speed skill is very valuable, and her unique is also a 0.4 XL on the final streets, making her extremely good when those conditions are met. So this is a very relevant horse for a lot of players for the sprinting CMs. However, she's only super meta on like 1 sprinting CMs, and sprinting CMs are ultimately just a gambling CM. Right, so even if you have her, you may not win all the time, right? She's not going to be like the Demon Lord of Sprint or anything like that, but if you want to get her because you like her, no problems from me. Moving on, we also have Seeking the Pearl and also Bamboo Memory. There's going to be the cards, and ultimately Seeking the Pearl speed just doesn't come close to a lot of the other stronger speed cards like Maru, Kitasan or Biko or any of those other cards that are very notable, so it's not really going to be something that's worthwhile to use, especially not for something like Dauntless, right? So this card can just disappear, we don't need it at all. We will basically be looking at Bamboo Memory Guts here. This is a pretty good Guts card because it gives you a lot of mild skills and also a lot of mild skills on the chain events as well. So as a Guts card, I think it's actually quite solid for the Guts builds when you're training for the mild CMs. So this is a very usable card here if you want to do some Guts maxing with the mild CMs that are coming up. Alright, there's not going to be a lot of mild CMs, but it's a usable card for those situations. Usually only the rich people will pull this. You can just borrow it if you really want to at those points in time. Kawakami Princess Power gives Unyielding, which is mediocre, and also 5% race bonus, and her competitors are Sunday Power, Nishino Power, Condor Pasa Power, because they all have better skills and also better stat output or better race bonus than her. Then we also have Ines Fujin, which is a medium horse with quite a good amount of mid-leg skills, but her unique is very specific. Some horses have this thing where they are just super specific for no reason at all. For example, for Ines Fujin, her unique requires an uphill track with 300 meters remaining distance, then you can use it. Right? And what happens is that due to the positioning of this 300 meters, it ends up becoming usually on the medium tracks a finishing speed skill, which is the same as Fuji Kiseki's. So it's very mediocre, and so if you use this horse, you will need to compensate by pumping her full of skills because her mid leg is very weak, as the Samamaru and V-Bourbon have very powerful mid-leg skills. Right, so you need to put in more effort into this horse here. Thankfully, her alternate version, her Valentine's version, is insanely powerful to compensate for this kind of mediocre release for this Ines Fujin horse here. We have next the Mr. CB Wit, a very notable card that everyone will be talking about. Mr. CB Wit is a very powerful stat stick and also a very powerful skill stick, because she gives you SP, Wit, and Speed, and also enclosure skills such as Straightaway Spurt, very valuable, and Daring Attack, which is also very valuable, right? This card is usable at 1 limit break. Ideally, you want to get it to 3 limit break, but 1 limit break is usable. But do note that even if you MLB this or 3LB this, right, you will kind of need to pair it with Fine Motion no matter what you do. The reason why you want to pair it with Fine Motion is because Fine Motion gives you the wit but not the skill. Mr. CB gives you the skill but not the wit, right? She gives you a little bit of wit, not the most amount of wit compared to Fine Motion. Fine Motion is the queen of printing wit. So Mr. CB is pretty damn solid, but not as crazy in wit output compared to Fine Motion, so you usually use them as a combo, alright? So you can pull this as a bonus skill stick if you want to. I will be pulling this banner as well because I do love my enclosures and I would like to enjoy them while they are still relevant. Moving on, we have Mejiro Palmer, which is a runaway horse for the long tracks. That's why her unique is a massive recovery. Stamina requirements for longs, for runaways, is way higher than the front runners, so you may need even more recoveries than this, right? So it will cost quite a bit of SP to try and make her, and she's also not really the strongest right now for the long CMs, just because the fact that there is a lot of other strong long front runners now. There's also a lot of enclosers that are very strong also, and notably during Ment there's also no runaway training, and there's also no more long CMs. There's only one long CM during Ment. So this horse currently is in a situation where she's like whatever, really. So will not be a very valuable horse now. In the future, you can choose to run her a few times, but she will never be super meta, and she can be used as your chariot rocket booster horse, but you can also just use like Twin Turbo or Suzuka if you have those, right? So not really a must-have horse in particular. Next, we have Matikanefukukitaru Speed and also your Rise Shower Power. Fukukitaru Speed is a very strong high roller card. The keyword here is high roller. At this point in time, pulling her will be very low value because Grand Life is really going to be coming soon. At that point, you might as well pull another speed card to kind of satisfy yourself in your speed requirements, right? So if you need more speed in the future, just pull your Ines Tachyon, get your S Maru card. There's plenty of other options. That's what I'm trying to say here. So Fuku's value is not really that high, but if you're a high roller enjoyer, you want to get very high scores with her, then you can choose to go and pull her. Or if you have 3LB, you want to get MLB, you can choose to finish her up here. Alright, that's something you can do over here. But do note that there are plenty of other banners to be pulling on, so pulling on this banner is really for the luxury people rather than for the poor people. For Rush Hour Power, she has long exited her era. She's no longer a scenario link card, so you cannot get double recovery, and this card ultimately doesn't have race bonus for Mant and doesn't have any insane stuff for the Grand Life scenario. So it's not really a very important card. I honestly just don't bother with this. You can save a lot of money just by skipping this card. Moving on, we have the Curren-chan and Fine Motion Wedding. Curren and Fine Motion Wedding are very decent horses. Wedding Curren-chan is the opposite of the base Curren-chan. The reason why is because she is a front horse. She's a horse that wants to be in front of another horse, then she will activate her unique, while the regular Curren-chan wants to overtake to activate her unique. So they're very different in their activations. Her unique is a 350 meters remaining proc, which means that only if the track allows for this kind of proc, then it will be extremely good. That usually means that it's a sprinting area, then that's when she will be good. Right, while Curren, as long as you overtake at the right timing, it can be good on any track. So this Curren is mostly specialized into the sprinting position, and there is one very funny track which is a completely straight line. Wedding Curren-chan is literally the Demon Lord of that track. There is no other horse that can compare to her on that track. So if you want to be the Demon Lord for one League of Heroes CM in the future, only one, it will never be rerun again, then you can choose to go and pull this horse. After that, we have Wedding Fine Motion, which is a solid, mild, and medium pace horse due to the head-on innate. Her unique is also track dependent since it gives her speed and acceleration, a hybridized unique, at 400 meters. So you need to go and find when the track will give you a good proc on that, then you can go ahead and use her there. She's a bit of a niche horse, but if you want to use Fine Motion sometimes on these tracks, this is a more viable option sometimes for those tracks. For Haru, Urara Power, and Ikuno Dictus Stamina, you can honestly just skip those. They have nothing of value for you in this one. They are not very good for the man scenario, and for Grand Life they're also not a high priority card in particular, because Urara Power is a power card, and in Grand Life you won't use it, in Man you also probably won't use it, and then in Dictus Stamina is a stamina card. If you're using stamina card, you're using it for stamina, right? And most of the time in Grand Life you just inherit the stamina, you won't be using the stamina. If you need stamina, just use Super Creek. Right, so these cards are not relevant at all. Rise Shower Wit, you get Shatterproof and 5% race bonus only, not relevant at all. Don't need to look at it. Next we have Inari One. Inari One is a horse that can run on both the dirts and turfs. She has straightaway spurt and golden tail held high, which is very, very relevant. However, she's not particularly meta relevant. Right, the reason why is because she's kind of like Oguri. She is encloser version of Oguri, where she's only good if there's a straight line, and even when there is a straight line, there's usually someone else that likes a straight line more than her. Like for example, Christmas Oguri. When the encloser dirt is very very strong, Christmas Oguri just run encloser, because Oguri is a build-a-bear horse, can go wherever she wants. And then for the other turf tracks in particular, there are plenty of other horses that are usually better than her, so she ends up becoming a very niche horse, where sometimes she's usable, but she's just that usable. There's usually a stronger horse than her, so not very relevant for a lot of you. For Chiyono O, Stamina, and Admire Vega Power, these are race bonus cards in particular. The Admire Vega Power at this point has fallen off. Mr. CB has released, so getting Daring Strike from a Wit card is way more valuable than getting Daring Strike from a Power card. Alright, it's not meant to say that Daring Strike from Admire Vega Power is bad. Admire Vega Power is a pretty damn good card. It's just that Mr. CB is a much more valuable card in terms of how many pulls it takes to get 1 LB, and in terms of how many other good skills that card has, and also SP bonus, very valuable. Alright, so Admire Vega Power does have a lot of good stuff in her in terms of stat output and also skills, but she doesn't really compare to Mr. CB because I rather click Wit rather than click Power. Alright, very simple. Chiyono O Stamina is also one of those cards that has 15% race bonus, which is very good for the make a new track scenario, but because Super Creek exists, you might as well get that card instead. Right now, Super Creek is the god of stamina, so we will not really look at any other stamina cards for a long time. Chiyono O is only notable for Mant, and after Mant, she's gone, so don't bother at this point. Next, we have Sweep Tosho. This is an encloser with straightaway spurt, and also a gold speed debuff, which is similar to All Seeing Eyes, which means that sometimes she can see you and sometimes she can't see you. Then she can land the debuff, right? So she's really not meta relevant because, you know, in terms of winning as an encloser, we have Ghost Shape, Tamamo, Taishin, CB later on, right? So this is not really a very important horse to go and pull for. You can pull her if you like her because she's a brat. Otherwise, it's gonna be pretty much the same as like Admire Vega or Hishi Amazon. You need to kind of pump her full of skills, otherwise she's not able to win by herself. Alright, that's just what you have to do to make these horses win. But next we have a very interesting card. This is the Taiki Shuttle SSR Speed card. This is actually a very good card, by the way. This is actually a very good speed card. I very rarely say this, which is why I'm saying it's very notable that this is a very good speed card. This is one of the best Mal-focused speed cards in the game for now. The reason why is because there's a humongous amount of Mal skills in her, and her third chain event gives her Mal Maven, right? So if your horse doesn't have Mal Maven and can use it as a front or pace, you might as well go and use this card over here, right? Stats wise also, this card is also kind of ridiculous. It has 2 speed bonus, 1 power bonus and 1 SP bonus, making it extremely powerful, and you do need to get it to 3 LB and MLB for the training effectiveness, but this card is really damn valuable. That 1 SP bonus is so damn good, it's unbelievable. Right, so this card really good for Mal specific stuff. Whales will enjoy getting this card. Alright, but if you are not training particularly for Mal, there are plenty of other usable speed cards, so F2Pers are not pulling this banner, but Whales can go and pull this banner if they want a very powerful Mal specific speed card. Next we have Oguri Cap SR Guts, which is actually one of the better Guts cards because she has 10% race bonus, 1 speed bonus and 1 power bonus. Not as ridiculous as Admire Vega, but does have a lot of other skills that are quite valuable. For example, Nimble Navigator and Groundwork, which is really stuff that people want a lot. Right, so this Oguri Guts is very valuable. You can feel free to pull this banner if you want also. This banner is not really a easy skip banner, but there will be quite a few of the whales who want to go and pull this banner. Right, for the rest of you F2Pers, it should be a pretty easy one to skip, just because you already have some of your core speed cards. You don't need to go and pull luxury speed cards. Alright, you already have speed cards, don't need to go and get those. Fill the rest of the missing slots, like your missing Wit cards, your missing important niche cards. Those are more important. Moving on, we have Taiki Shuttle, Camping, and Dober also. We have Taiki Shuttle Camping, which is a side grade of the OG Taiki Shuttle. Her unique changes to speed, her gold skill changes to golden head-on, which is very hard to get. Her sprints and dirts are quite notable, and she has 30% growth on power, which is great for those power-centric champions meets. She's a very solid sprinter, Mal, and dirt horse. Every now and then she is better than Taiki, every now and then the regular Taiki is somewhat comparable to her, or the OG Taiki Shuttle is somewhat better than her. It really depends on what track you are looking at. Right, so this is just a case of a side grade Taiki Shuttle. She's great, and there's no such thing as a bad Taiki Shuttle in the entire game. Even in modern day JP, Valentine Taiki Shuttle is also ridiculously broken. So all the Taikis are basically good enough to be run. And it's just in the Mals, the sprints, and whenever their uniques work. Next we have the Mejiro Dober Camping, which is more niche because her unique is a downslope at 60% distance on the track. very specific, right? But when it works, it's a pretty good speed carryover unique, and she also has some good late surger skills inside of her kit, so she's definitely solid enough, but she's not really going to be giga meta in any way, alright? So that's just something to take note of with this Camping Dober over here. Notably, she smiles in her Camping Dober artwork, so that's something that some people might want, to have a very happy Dober in their art. Other than that, we also have Condor Pasa Guts and Tannhauser Wit, which we can quite easily ignore because Condor Pasa Guts is for Guts maxing. It gives you more training effectiveness for every support card which is in Guts. So it's good for Guts maxing, and it gives you Speed Star, which is not something you would cry out, I wish I had Speed Star. You can get it from Fine Motion, why you even want to get it on Pasa Guts? Right, so this is a Guts maxing card, not really used for anything, so wouldn't recommend pulling this banner at all. And Tannhauser Wit is also not the best card for Wit output. There are plenty of other stuff, but her skills are pretty good, so if you accidentally get her somehow, it's not bad for hunting down like Nimble Nav or Ramp Up. It's on Home Stretch Haste, blah blah blah. Alright. Other than that, we have Shakur. Shakur is another encloser. I know, yeah, if you notice, right, there are like a bunch of enclosers, but all the enclosers are kind of like whatever compared to all of the crazy enclosers they've released already. These enclosers are like this one is particular, is like a mid-leg speed skill, no straightaway spurt this time, so you have to go and hunt down for it later on, and otherwise she's basically the same logic as Inari One and Sweep Tosho. Why pull these enclosers when the other super strong enclosers exist, which really kind of sucks, right? So yeah, Ghost Ship exists, Mayano exists, Taishin exists, Mr. CB exists in the future, and all these other horses are just, you know, easier and stronger to make. Oguri also can go into encloser, so there's really no reason to ever use any of these enclosers in these banners. Alright, I'm an encloser enjoyer, but really we're getting screwed here by getting all these horrendous enclosers. Moving on, we have Groove Power, which is very funky because it gives you lie in wait. If you want to get a recovery, you would probably just use Super Creek and then have an innate recovery in your horse. So this is not something to be very happy to have, right? This is a very mediocre card also because we are in a time where there are no more long CMs. So if you really need a recovery, just get it from another card if possible. Groove Power is not the worst way to get it, but it's certainly not a card I recommend pulling just to make sure you have a recovery for those longer medium CMs. Alright, like the 2400. Next we have the Go City Wit, which is just horrendous and you can just skip it. Done, finish. Very easy, that one. Alright, we have Zeno Rob Roy, which gives you Clairvoyance, a team trial skill. It gives you stamina also, which kind of sucks. It gives you initial stats for stamina and guts, but that's really about it. And it also only has 5% race bonus. This card is just not meta at all. It's only used for the really budget people who are just joining us now, and they don't have any savings in terms of their card, so they have no choice but to use this kind of stamina card here. That's the only thing they got here. Right, so that's Zeno Rob Roy stamina for you. Ultimately, this area here is very skippable, very free, and good thing too, because the next 3 or 4 banners is really horrendous. Next we have Seiun Sky Narita Brian rerun. If you don't have Seiun Sky at this point, you may want to go and pick it up because you need to get her unique for League of Heroes in the future, and for every one of your frontrunner means that you've gotten already. Alright, if you don't know what it is, it's basically the strongest acceleration skill in our current time, and you should always buy the Anglia and Scheming unless it has a horrendous proc chance or maybe long CMs. Alright, on long CMs it's usually shooting for victory as well as Ballroom Seiun Skies, break it down, that's about it. Right, Narita Brian is also another very good horse that can give you either mid-leg, speed carryover, or finishing speed, because it just depends on where the final corner is. So this horse surprisingly appears quite a lot, Narita Brian. Her unique is actually quite valuable. It's very similar to Baracole, but Baracole is a lot more consistent. That's the difference between Brian and the New Year TM Opera O. Right, so if you already have New Year TM, you may not need to get the Brian, but Brian is a nice little extra side grade, right? And the main price here is really just Seiun Sky for most people, right? So if you're missing any of these parents here and you don't have like TM Opera O yet or whatever, feel free to go and pick up some of these horses here to fill up your valuable acceleration or speed carryover slots. Next we have Thrones Ensemblage. This card is actually insanely broken for Make a New Track. The problem is the timing is ridiculously horrendous. In Global, we have an accelerated schedule, so the timing of the Thrones Ensemblage is going to be ridiculously bad. What's going to happen is that this card will release, and then the last CM in Mant is Sprint CM, which is the most gambly CM in the game, and F2Pers can just get to A finals just by gambling random skills on it. Alright, so this is one of those cards that comes out at a horrendous timing, and otherwise it could have been the greatest card during Make a New Track. Thankfully, they did not push it forwards, otherwise you needed to pull even more at the start of Make a New Track. So this card is really, really powerful. Only the whales will bother pulling for it, and honestly, the whales may not even want to pull for it because the timing is really, really bad. There are plenty of other things to be pulling for. Right, Throne is very good. The reason why is because it is a very good stat stick for Wit, and it gives you crazy, crazy rainbows, and gives you a lot of stats and skill points and Wit. It's just really, really very good. Right, the problem is that it comes really, really late, so it's really bad for a lot of people to go and pull. But on top of that, Condor Pasa Speed, which comes with that banner, is a very good SR card. F2Pers, please take note of this Condor Speed card. If you have any golden gems, do save it for this card. This card is a lifesaver for anyone that does not have all their speed cards completed. Literally, later on in Le Arc, like 3 scenarios down, people still use this card. It's a very, very powerful SR card. Very powerful. You can use it in Grand Life, Grand Masters, and Le Arc, all 3 of them, if you have no other speed cards. This is an extremely good budget card, the likes that can beat Shinko Windy even. Very powerful. So just take note of this card in the future. Do not pull this banner just to get it. Pull a future banner and pray for copies of it, and then use the golden gems to go and fill up this card over here. Alright, so that's pretty much this banner explained. Next we have the Ghost Ship and Mejiro McQueen. McQueen is not going to be very relevant. She's just a long pace chaser, and her unique requires you to have a lot of extra stamina, so you must buy a lot of recoveries, mainly specialized for the longer CMs. Right, the Ghost Ship Summer is the main one, because she is the meta parent for every Team Trials horse and debuffer. Thankfully, she's a parent, which means that for Team Trials and debuffers, you don't usually buy other uniques. That means you can just perma borrow Ghost Ship Summer for every one of your debuffers, right? The specialty about her is that her unique 564 allows you to activate 1 ghost skill regardless of any condition. This lets you use something like a Mal Locked Keen Eye debuff in long, in medium, in sprint. You can use Dominator in long, in Mal, and in sprint. It's a medium lock skill, right? So these are very powerful things on medium, and that's why medium is the debuffer hell. Well, once 564 comes out, debuffer hell is now spread to every single CM in the game. So you can do Kopano Riki on dirt with 2 Dominators. You can do Express Oguri on dirt with 2 Dominators. You can do Express Oguri on long with 2 Dominators. Tamama Cross 2 Dominators. Anything Dominator you want, you can just do it on any single CM. Any of them. Alright, so that's the power of this Ghost Ship over here, and thankfully you only need to borrow it because you don't really need to pull for it unless you want to grind like 15 debuffers or something like that. Right, so yeah, this is a very, very free and easy banner to basically skip, but just take note of that Ghost Ship Summer. She is very relevant. All team trialers must have this inherit because +1 goal is +1 score. Right, the team trials will inflate the score by quite a bit because a lot of the team trialers will literally go and borrow this horse, and that will give them way more score than before. Right, literally +1 score more than before. So it's very, very important to basically go and borrow this horse for your debuffers and team trial horses in the future. Next we have S Maru and Nakayama Festa Wit. This is an insanely good speed card for the front runners and also very good as a general speed card. 0LB is already good enough because of the training effectiveness scaling on the facility level. Insane. Literally, as long as you're clicking speed, you're getting more training effectiveness. Very powerful. Right? Her 1 limit break will give her 1 power bonus. That's why the 1 limit break is the recommended position to be in. But if you already have another MLB SSR speed card, you don't need to get a 3rd one. Alright? So for those people who don't need it, you can actually just skip it. But notably, this is insanely good for frontrunners because it has all the good skills inside of it. In the future, all these very powerful cards will have a billion skills for the specific position. That's why these cards are very, very good. So that's why Maruzenski Speed is an extremely good card for frontrunners and a usable card for every other position because there's still stuff like Slipstream inside, and notably the output of this card is very, very good. Very good output. You can use this card for like 4 or 5 scenarios literally. Right? It's a very valuable, long-lasting card similar to Kita-san Black. Right, this card will also rerun later on at the Fine Motion rerun banner. It will be Maruzenski Speed plus Fine Motion. So what happens is that if you only pull 1 LB now, you can actually save up and re-pull the banner later on for the 3 LB if you want to. Right, this banner notably, right, Summer Maruzenski reruns like 4 times. So you can just fill up the missing LB just by pulling any of the Maruzensky banners that you want afterwards. Up to you. She reruns like 4 times, so you really have a lot of options. Okay. After that, we have Nakayama SSR Wit, the accompanying card with Maruzensky Speed. So similar to the Fine Motion Kawakami banner that you guys might have experienced, this banner is also very solid because Nakayama SSR Wit is not a terrible card. It has a 10% raise bonus, it has 1 SP bonus, which is very valuable, and her unique is very funky because it's a 20% chance of making your current training's fail rate 0, which can be sometimes good. So it's a gambler Wit card. Alright, not the best, not the worst, but in terms of skills, right, the card is mostly for parents, but when you use it, it can get you some decent skills also, so it's not that bad. What happens with the skills is that it gives you some green skills which are good, and also some decent skills like Nimble Navigator and Uma Stand, so you can get quite a lot of good stuff from her, so it's not the worst thing in the world to run, it's just that there are better things to run than her. Alright, so yeah, this is basically a not bad banner to go and pull on. Nakayama SSR Wit is not going to be like, oh man, I wish I didn't get that. It's more like, oh, I guess I got it, I can use it. It's like Kawakami Princess, you know. I can use it, but there are better options, but I don't have those better options. So it's a good copium card for a while. Right? Sakura Chiyono Guts is also another very decent card actually. It has 65% specialty priority and 1 speed bonus. It also has initial stats for speed, power and guts, and it can give you initial stats, which is very good for Make a New Track. Right? Make a New Track is ending, so it kind of sucks there, but ultimately it also has some good skills like pace chaser, straightaways, corners, head-on, mouse skills. So it's very, very solid, very good budget guts card. Another one to add to the pile of very good budget guts cards during Ment. Moving on, we have Bamboo Memory. Bamboo Memory is a very situational horse. It requires her to overtake horses to get the full 0.4 Excel. She scales like 0.1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, something like that. It's very, very awkward, and the Excel does activate good on some tracks, but sometimes you may not get the full value, so that might suck. So Bamboo Memory is not that crazy, but also not that L. Alright, you can make her work if you want to, up to you. She's usually used for the shots and mouse. Next, we have the Ikuno Dictus Guts and Yukino Bijin Wit. Please skip Dictus. At this point, the card is really bad because race bonus is about to expire. We are entering Grand Life already, so at this point, she's gone already, not that good anymore. And Bijin, however, is a very good card. Notably, Bijin, you only need to get a 0 limit break copy of her, and you have access to No Stopping Me. So, let's talk about the min-max and let's talk about the casual. The min-max is that just get Nimble Navigator from Inheritance or Hints, and then get a better Wit card to pump your Wit very, very high. The lazy method is, hey, here's NSM from a card, and then your Wit will suffer a little bit, but hey, just run another +1 Wit card. Congratulations, now you have 1200 Wit and you still get NSM. And then you just minus that 1 slot, that means it was a potential slot for something else, but maybe you didn't have anything else, or maybe you did have something else, so that's an opportunity cost. So that's the logic between the two things here. I personally just always take Yukino Bijin Wit because I don't care. I just want to get NSM so I can gamble, and if I gamble and I win, I feel good about myself. Right, so that's the logic here. Feel free to go and pull this banner if you want. Just 1 copy is all you need. 0 limit break is all you need, literally. Right, just 0 limit break is already good enough. So it's actually quite a budget banner if you want to go and get it. But ultimately, there are more optimal ways to do it, so maybe you can skip it if you don't want to go and hunt down for the skill. Up to you, chat, up to you. I'll leave it to you. Moving on, we have the Demon Lord herself, Kopano Riki. This horse is like what Express Oguri is to Medium. Literally the Demon Lord of every single dirt from now until the end of time. Even in modern day JP, this horse is so strong she can fight other JP horses. Right? Modern day JP kids can be beaten by this global period of time, Kopano Riki. That's how ridiculous she is, right? Her unique relies on how many green skills she has. You need to get 6 green skills to get the maximum value, but people will usually get by with 5 just fine. Alright, she's a pain in the ass to build. Sometimes her innate green skills will work on that track, but a lot of times her innate green skills will not work on that track. She's only used for the dirt CMs, which is only 1 or 2 dirt CMs a year, and she's sometimes forced into Mile, where some of her greens cannot work because they are dirt only. So if you do that, just take note of how much difficulty increase you're going to add to yourself. Alright, 5 greens is okay, 6 is for the min-maxer, and this Uma also is very close to Grand Life already, which means that there's a lot of other horses and cards that you may want to be pulling for in the upcoming days. So for this banner, you can pull it if you are a little bit dolphin, but if you are at full F2P, you may not do it properly in terms of building the horse, or you may not be able to afford pulling this banner plus other banners. I will let you decide for yourself whether you want to get this horse, but this horse is literally the Demon Lord of Dirt, and the meta in the future will be literally Kopano Riki plus 2 debuffers on the Dirt CM. You will see it for sure, I guarantee you. Alright, so that's basically the explanation for Kopano Riki. I will not pull this horse. The Dirt CM is only 1 or 2 a year. I rather just throw my gambler inside. If I lose, I don't care, because it's Kopano Riki's era. I don't care. I don't want to participate in this era. I've been here before. I had her. I couldn't make a strong enough one to fight the other strong ones. You must remember, if you have Kopano Riki, you must make a stronger one than the other guy. Otherwise, the other guy will have a stronger one than you, and he will go first place. He activate angling and scheming, he beats your ass. Alright, so that's why I don't like Kopano Riki. I don't want to play this meta. I will just accept the L until Summer Hoko Tarume, where I can be very, very lazy. Alright. So this is the reasoning why I do not put her as a mandatory pull. Next, we have Manhattan Cafe SSR Stamina and Seiun Sky SR Wit. For Manhattan Cafe Stamina, very easy. This is a stamina card that gives you a go recovery that minuses your speed, when you could instead use Super Creek and just get Swinging Maestro, which does not minus your speed. That alone will already make it very, very decent. But the Manhattan Cafe Stamina SSR does give you more long skills, which are very good for those long CMs. So up to you. I personally think that this is not a required card at all. You will never ever use 2 stamina cards, because the stamina requirements are always sufficient by using Super Creek plus Scenario plus Go recoveries. Right, that's what you need for the upcoming long CMs. Alright, we're entering Grand Life, so there will be new long CMs. Seiun Sky SR Wit is actually very decent. So if you do see this card in your future, do note that it's very, very good. It is a frontrunner focus card because it's Seiun Sky. It has 10% TE, 50 specialty priority, and also 1 SP bonus, which is very rare. It gives you groundwork, early lead, and frontrunner savvy, which is insanely rare. Right, so this is a very good Wit card. If you have it, you'll be very happy as a frontrunner player. It can be your budget Wit card if you don't have any other stronger Wit cards at this point. I hope you somehow manage to get your Fine Motion as your main Wit card, because those fronts really do need that crazy amount of Wit. Alright, so this is a very, very comfy card. Don't pull the banner just for this card. You can just wait for it to come out later and use golden selected gems to finish it up. Next, we have Smart Falcon. Smart Falcon suffers from power creep. On her left, she has Kopano Riki, the Demon of Dirt. There will be a need to fight another front to go and secure the front position, right? But the thing about the Smart Falcon and Kopano Riki situation is that Kopano Riki usually will fight another Kopano Riki. So there's kind of no reason to use a Smart Falcon as a +1 for Kopano Riki. You just use Kopano Riki in there, Kopano Riki will fight another Kopano Riki, and then the two of them fight, they will get first, they get angling and scheming, they win the game. Very done, very finished. Alright, so Smart Falcon Grand Life is not really Kopano Riki's equal. So that's what happened here. And then notably on the right, we have Light Hello and Agnes Tachyon Speed. These cards are also very valuable, so you have to really decide, hey, can I afford to get all this? I think you cannot, probably. Moving on, we have Light Hello and Agnes Tachyon Speed. This is the major card of this period of time. The real price is the Light Hello, not really the Agnes Tachyon Speed. But Agnes Tachyon Speed is very notable as being the strongest speed card during Grand Life. Her great stat output and also 2 SP bonus makes her the best speed card of this type. Grand Life also buffs her friendship bonus multiplier and her specialty rate, and she has scenario link. She is incredibly powerful. Even 1 limit break Agnes Tachyon Speed can be used if you don't want to pull this card, because this card, if you want to pull the card a little bit, because this card is really, really damn strong. Scenario link is very valuable during Grand Life, and this card also has many good pace chaser skills, making it an incredibly powerful card. Really incredibly powerful. Try your best to get it to 3 limit break at least, so you can get 1 SP bonus, and MLB to get 2 SP bonus. Right? If you want to use this card after Grand Life, it's only used for pace chasers, because the 2 SP bonus is extremely valuable. So just take note of that. Take note that Agnes Tachyon for the rest of the positions will fall off. There will be better options. Alright? So the Grand Life is going to be Agnes Tachyon Speed Cards era. After that, we have Light Hello, which is usable at 0 limit break. There is an R version and there's an SSR version. Let me tell you right now, I will not recommend the R version at all. It is literally a copium card. The reason why you want the SSR version of Light Hello is a combination of 2 things. The SSR version gives you golden play times over, which is a very good speed skill. Very generic, very usable, very powerful. Then on top of that, her unique effect on the SSR version is 30 energy cost reduction on Rainbow Click, which is very, very fat. It's 30%, not flat, it's 30%. But anyway, regardless, it's still humongous. Humongous. Because during the scenario, you need to click Rainbow a lot to get a lot of token. I will explain this all in a future video, but you need to understand that the scenario link is extremely important, and this Rainbow energy cost reduction is insanely important. Alright? So this is a must get at SSR as much as possible. The R version, if you use it, is really copium because the unique effect is gone. Alright, the 0LB version compared to the R version, the 0LB doesn't have any training effectiveness, while the 1LB at least has 5%, the 2LB at least has 10%. So try your best to get those additional training effectiveness so you can get more stat lines by clicking her. Alright, so these are the things to take note of when you're comparing like her low R and SSR. Alright, this will be one of the most common questions for sure. Do I want to get the R or do I want to get the SSR? Always aim for the SSR in this case. The SSR is superior by a humongous amount to the R version. 1LB is 10 times superior to the R version. Alright, very, very significant. Okay, so take note of that. There will be free pulls on this, so you can chill out a little bit. Let the free pulls guide you. If you hit, you hit. If you don't hit, then don't commit so much. Just accept the R version and just play the game. Alright, because remember, there will be other banners. I will not be covering them today, but there will be other banners that you may want to pull after this period of time. When we come here, I will explain the other banners again, so don't worry about it. I will guide you throughout the entire period of time, so there won't be a case of you accidentally burning all your gems and then quitting the game, just like me when I was in Grandmasters. So that's about it, guys. The most notable banners of this period of time are going to be all the meta stuff over here. There's going to be a lot of juicy stuff that you might be tempted to pull, right? There's going to be the Camping Taiki, there's going to be Kopano Riki, there's going to be Esmaru, Mr. CB, Light Hello, Agnes Tachyon, Seiun Sky, right? Like all these other stuff here, very, very greedy little things that you might want to go and eat, right? So make sure you just ration your resources, make sure you calculate your gems amount, make sure you calculate how much money you want to put into the game also. Alright, then you can go and have a more safer rest of your 4 months over here. Right, we have to be very careful with Umamusume, because if we do not plan, we are in for a disaster and then we just quit the game. Alright, I've been here before, I've walked this path before, so here I am to guide you again through this path. Anyway, that's all for this gacha guide over here. If you need any other advice, please go through the Ko-fi for direct messages, because I get a lot of messages already. Go through Discord. If you can ask all the other people in Discord, they're all professionals, well, kind of, they can help you quite a lot, right? And then after that, you can go through the YouTube or Twitch messages when I'm streaming, and I'll try my best to answer, but do note I cannot answer all of you all the time. There's a humongous amount of you, and I cannot address everyone in the chat. Alright, so that's about it, guys. That's all. Thanks for watching. Good luck with your pulling, and I shall see you guys next time. Bye-bye.